Greg, can you hear me? Check, check. He's the only one listening.
Is there just one person?
He's the only one on.
Hello, folks. We got a small group today. Cool. All right, so this is our general membership election. I guess to get things started, one question, show of hand. Well, how many people already voted online? Okay, the majority of you. We still have the ability of, if they hear the statements and they want to change their vote, they can, correct? Vote often? You know everything. Shane is the default. No, I think we used to be able to, where you could, because she had her numbers. All right, so we have a handful that are, excuse me, that are still needing to vote. Okay, so the way it's going to work tonight is Greg Beatty, our president, is not here. Larry, our treasurer, is not here. Normally, they would give some form of quick talk. So you got me. I'll do my little spiel. Tom Reed's going to give a little talk about some stuff that he's dealing with on the AAC front. Then what we'll do is we'll go through the people that are here, candidates, and let them have a 90-second statement chat. Trying to tell you what their platform is. From there, we'll hand out the ballots. You guys will vote, and while we are counting and tabulating, Shane will go ahead and do his safety report. So all things considered, this thing should probably go pretty quick. So in that case, we'll start off. Oh, by the way, I'm Dave Eby, operations, if anybody hasn't seen me before. So what I'll do is go ahead and just kind of give you an idea of what's going on with the club, how we ended 23, and how we're, or 23-24, and how we're looking at 24-25. So basically, the membership is stable. We started in July with 2,469 dues-paying members. We ended in June 24, which is coming up, with 2,539. That's an accurate number because we will not have another new member meeting until July. So on average, and we've been having this number consistent with, since 19 and before, the club's dues-paying members has been raising about an average of 8 to 9% per year, and it hasn't changed, which is kind of interesting. So, you know, membership is strong. It's which maintains the club. It takes care of a lot of the business stuff that we deal with, which is good to see on our end. And we can attribute that to our wonderful membership staff, Talisha, Rachel, and Erica, doing their jobs. On the flight hour front, this is the one that just is insane. Right now, and I put the quote on here, the flight hours are going through the roof. So we have an annual increase of 10% of hours for 23-24. The average in years past was about 8%, of which we have a fleet of around 86 aircraft. If you guys look on Schedule Master, I can guarantee you probably 10 of those airplanes are down for maintenance. So if you really break it down on any given time, about 70 airplanes that are actually flying. So we started June of 23. Our first month we did 4,000, around 4,012 hours. And it stayed at the 4,000 mark, and that was the first time we hit 4,000, by the way. And it stayed there up until we hit October of last year, where we hit an all-time record of 5,257. That is absolutely insane. In 1 month. So we ended the average for that year at 3,942. We started off January with 4,200 hours. February dropped to 32. We actually had weather this year. 39, it bumped up because March was not as IFR as March and February. And now we're at April was 45, May was 46, and right now we're not closing out, so the number for June is not accurate. I've got right now at 3,900 hours, but we still have a few more days left in the month to go. So the hours are just, the way the planes are going through the roof, it's insane, which is going to segue into the last little discussion they're going to have is budget and IDP. So the budget this year, basically there was no dues increases. There was no major changes to the overall budget except, the IDP member percentage, which was 1%, is now gone to 2% starting July 1st for the fiscal year. And that's attributed to the insurance claims, or not insurance claims, but the IDP claims we've been dealing with over the course of over the years. We started the fiscal year in 23. We budgeted $212,000 for oopsies. And the whole purpose of using the IDP is to offset in claims with the insurance company. So that way, we still can get insurance. We did get it again. I think we told you about that in the last membership meeting in February. We renew our policy. And we only got an 8% increase. The year before that, we didn't get any increase. And the year before that, we didn't either. So we started the fiscal year with an 8% increase in insurance. And we also put $212,000 budget towards the IDP. So between the money that was funded by the club through the dues and the 1% IDP fund, we have already spent $150,000 of that 212. So that's why you saw the one go to 2%. And now the best part is we still have about $50K on the books and claims that still have to go through process. So by the time we get at the end of this year, we will be probably a wash, if not a little bit under or over budget on the IDP. I think IDP will probably end around 220, 230, depending on the results of these last claims that are coming in. The big reason you're seeing an increase in the insurance in the IDP with the claims is that we're getting a lot of them. Yeah, we're still, if you take the overall hours relative to what we're getting, it's about average. It's just proportional. We have more planes in the air, more time, more incidents. But the real reason that you're seeing the increase is shop rates, parts, and all that other stuff that go with it. The shop rates went up. They're up what average about 175 now, roughly 180. So I figure take a shop rate between $180 and $200 an hour. Okay. Parts, depending on what the plane is, if you can get them, and if if like Cessna parts, for instance, they might have them, they might not. And if Cessna does have them, you don't want to know what's going to cost. So that's another reason why you're seeing IDP get eaten up. That's why it's imperative that everybody, with all the flight hours that's going on, that we really take our time with the planes, try not to abuse them, try to make sure they're in as good a shape as when you left and when you bring them back. Because eventually the numbers do add up. Okay. And then if it gets to a point where the board feels we need to make more changes, then you'll see the changes hit. So that's basically what I got right now. We just want to keep, my thing is just fly safe, fly smart, take care of your equipment like it's your own. We've been having a lot of issues with trash and just overall disregard for the aircraft. The rental mentality is kind of taking foot again. And of course, the people that I need to talk to aren't here. The folks that are here understand what's going on. So just again, please take care of the equipment. The better you take care of it, the less it'll cost in the long run. Keeps the rates down, keeps insurance down. Okay, that's my little spiel. Anybody have any questions for me real quick before we go into the elections? Oh, okay, good. So what I'm going to do is look over here, and we'll start off with, you can do anything you want. Sarah runs it.
Hi, I'm Sarah Biscarin. If you don't know me, I'm the corporate secretary, so I just manage the elections and facilitate board meetings, that kind of thing. Anyway, the election has been reopened, and so we're going to have the candidates who are here will have a few minutes to speak on their behalf. And if you haven't voted, please go into your email, pull up that last email you got from me, and you can use that link to vote during the meeting. And I'm trying to think what else. I can. Let me see. All right, so after everyone's done, then we'll take a look at the time and then set a time where the election will be closed again. And barring any unforeseen circumstances, then we'll announce the winners tonight. And why don't we start with the non-owners, I guess? Sure. Okay, so Craig is sitting right here. Craig is one of the non-owners. You start with Craig.
Good evening. Thanks for coming, everybody. A lot of you know me, a lot of you don't. I'm Craig Fuller. I've been with Plus One for about 18 years. I'm also Plus One's general counsel. I do all the legal work for you. And been with Plus One for about 18 years, and I've been on the board for about 12 of those. I help guide this organization through all of the legal entanglements that they sometimes get into, and hopefully keep them out of the legal entanglements so they don't get into any board issues. And then obviously if you folks have any problems that you raise to the board, I make sure the board governance does what they're supposed to do. So I appreciate that you will continue to give us and get involved with the 2 years, I think I've had a license, and been flying really for about 45 since my dad started flying a long time ago. So it's a great organization. I'm glad to see all you guys out, and please come out and come to the board meetings and get involved. Thank you very much.
Do John Scott next, our other non-owner.
All right, I'm John Scott. I've been on the board for 6 years, but it feels like 12. And many of you probably know me from activities I put on for members, flyouts, happy hours, that sort of stuff. If you've been in the club a while and you don't know me, I'm impressed because I have been trying really hard to in growing your social circle, getting reasons to fly, come out to one of those events, they work. I had a whole speech, but I will just say that there's everybody that's running for the board cares about the club. I don't think that focuses and perspectives on the board, and not necessarily a bad thing. Plus One Flyers, if you look at it from a high level, it looks like a training operation, and it is. That's what pays the bills. That's what keeps the club operating and insurable. But I would argue it's not what makes the club special. What makes the club special are I took my kids plane camping at Oceano. Weekend trips I've taken to Death Valley, Kern Valley. I'm going tomorrow to Yosemite Valley. I took 172 Romeo Whiskey to Oregon and back for a week. You can walk out the door and find 5 different flight operations to get your rating at Montgomery, but walk out the door and try to find a place where you can do all those things. It's hard to find. I mean, not to mention the aerobatics, the tail wheels, that sort of stuff.
Anybody? See Ali Reza? All right. I don't see him. Greg Betty, our president, is not here tonight. So Rick Garza, next. Rick? Nope. All right. Dave Gordon, you're up next. We're going to time it. I'm mostly kidding.
Just mostly, huh? Hi, I'm Dave Gordon. If you don't know me, you probably know my airplanes. If not, you might also know Gretchen. She's not here tonight. But I've got 5 172s in the club, a Duchess, and soon to be a really nice panel with a 182 RG. It's over at the avionics shop getting outfitted now. So maybe a month or so it'll be online. I try to provide good, well-equipped airplanes that are well-maintained. Thank goodness to Aero Mechanics, because I can't do it without them. And try to keep them rented at reasonable rental rates, and they're so busy that I can't rent them myself. And as far as being a board member, I always try to treat all the members the same, whether you're an owner or non-owner. We're all in this together, and I try to make sure everybody's treated fairly. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. All right, Jim Capenas.
Hey, hello, I'm James Capenas. I've been with Plus One now 24 years. I'm a CFI and one of the senior instructors with the club, and I'm a plane owner as well, so I kind of feel like I have a pretty good balance as being a member before, doing most of my training with the club, kind of both sides of it, whether it's the owner side or the pilot side or the instructor side, so 3 different sides of it, and I've been on the board of directors for, I don't know, I think 3 or 4 years now, so I'd like to continue with that, help the club keep moving in the right direction, because it's actually just grown leaps and bounds. I mean, light years from where it used to be back when we were putting checks and envelopes in these airplanes. So it's pretty impressive, like, if you've been here the whole time and been able to see that. Like, so yeah, I'd like to be a part of that. I'd like to get your vote for another term here at the Board of Directors. So thanks.
Thanks, Jim. Kevin May?
Hello, I'm Kevin May. Been a member of Plus One for 20 years, a CFI for 8, and an owner now for about a year and a half. I discussed my qualifications in my candidate statement and my little pre-recorded video, so I'm not going to rehash all of that. I assume most of you have seen that, and if not, you can get to it. The Cliff Notes version, though, is I do have some experience in management and finance, and I think that is important. It's important that we run the club, in a business-like manner. But similar to what John said, I think what's more important is that this club is more than a business. While we need to run things efficiently, we also need to recognize that we are here to make the club better for us, for all of the members. And a lot of things that John does helps along those lines. And I think in addition to just looking at it from a flying standpoint, from a club operations standpoint, by incorporating some teamwork principles, we can really help advance the club along. So I have some concrete, tangible examples. I know teamwork is a popular buzzword, and you can say, hey, let's do teamwork, and everybody, it's hard to disagree with that. But I do have some tangible ideas of how we can apply that as a club. I'd be happy to share that with folks. I don't think I have time to do that right now, but that's my shtick.
Larry Massaro is not here tonight, but then next, and I think last actually, is Tom Reed. John Sanders I actually have here last, but he's not here either, so you're it.
Hi guys, you're going to get a 3-part show from me because I'm going to give the president's report because I'm an expired president, and Greg Beatty asked me to say a few words. I'm also going to give you the AAC report because I'm on the AAC, and then I'm going to give you my candidate statement. Okay, candidate statement. I've been in the Plus One for 30 years, gotten all my ratings. Love the club, love meeting the people in the club. It's just an amazing entity. It's not for profit. We have the cheapest, best maintained airplanes in the world. And I just like giving back. So if you want me on the board, vote for me. If you don't want me on the board, I'm still going to show up, which I recommend everybody does that. Whether you get elected or not, show up, contribute. If you show up at the board meeting, you get paid the same as a board member. Get it? Haha. You get free dinner and no pay. Okay, so that's my candidate statement. And you want to wrap up the election.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's okay. Thanks, Tom. So it's 6:54 right now. How about we give until 10 after 7, so 7:10 for people to get their voting done, and then I'll close that out. I'd like to echo what Tom said about coming to the board meetings. We've actually had the last handful. We've had a bunch of extra people come, which has actually been really great. So I think it's good for people to see how the board is run and what happens and how decisions are made, and just get some information about how all of it works, because a lot of people put in a lot of effort to make sure that you guys have access to airplanes. So definitely I encourage you to come. Our next board meeting is July 18th. Thank you, Dave, for correcting me on that. It's Thursday, July 18th. It will be virtual. They're normally in person, but that one will be virtual. But that information is always on the club website, so you can always look and find that information there. So I'm going to give this back to Tom, and I'm going to wait. I'll close this out and check back in with you in a bit.
Thank you. I'm wearing my sequins. This will come in later. Okay, I'm going to read you a quote to tell you how important it is that we contribute to the lifeblood of Montgomery and keep general aviation alive and protect what we have, because if we look away for a minute, it will be gone. So this is a direct quote from Elise Lowe, who is the Director of Development Services for the city of San Diego. That's a pretty high-ranking department. She has influence over a lot of things. We taxpayers sent her to Vienna to look at the homeless situation because I think that she could learn so much about homelessness by going to Vienna. Inspired by what she has learned in Vienna, the article said, Lowe wants to start a discussion in San Diego about reevaluating city land. Quote, I've never heard anyone ask the question, is the small municipal airfield in the city center that only serves small planes the best use of our land when we are trying to put people first? I really think that Montgomery would be better suited to house homeless, don't you? Okay, so write your congressman. Okay, this is the president's report for Greg Beatty, who's not here. He wanted to reiterate that it doesn't matter whether you're elected or not. Please come to the board meetings. Let's all get involved. We live in a contentious society where increasingly people are intolerant of other people's views, but you know what? If you look at the person next to you, you might disagree with them politically or for whatever reason, but you know what? We both fly. We have that in common. We all love flying. So let's all pitch in to contribute to keep that going. Let's remember that we're all on the same team, like Kevin said. The club has been around for 30 plus years. I've been in the club for 30 years, and I've noticed that it's kind of like an ILS. You want to put small inputs in. Small inputs are better. We don't want radical changes. Things are working very well right now. It's not broken. We don't need to fix it. And the last thing I wanted to say was that one of my mentors and one of the founders of the club, Gus Schwartz, passed away earlier this month. And so I just wanted to raise a glass or say a silent toast to Gus Schwartz. Why am I wearing sequins? Okay, this is a tower thing, and I'm really tired of hearing people say in sequence. We know you're in sequence. 6 Romeo Alpha, 28 right, in sequence. No, you don't need to say in sequence. We need to keep our say less, not more. We are being very verbose on the radio, and the tower, which is the busiest GA tower in the world, has said, please say less. So you don't need to say sequence. Because what if the tower assigns you blue sequins when you're wearing pink sequins? Okay, last thing, I'm the ambassador to people that want to put airplanes in the club because I've had experience with that and I'm retired with nothing better to do. So I talk airplanes all day long with people who are thinking about putting their airplanes in the club. And we just had a very interesting experience where somebody wanted to put a relatively new 206 in the club with a hull value of 570. And it's a nice airplane, and we thought about it hard and long, but we finally had to get back to the guy and say, you know, if that had a loss, a total loss, it would be our entire insurance premium and then some, and we just don't have the reserves. So, hands if you would like to fly a relatively new 206. Turbo, yeah, it was a beautiful airplane. So we can get more airplanes like that in the club by increasing the IDP reserves so that if something bad happened to that airplane, we could afford to absorb that without going to the insurance company, which would then say sayonara. So, okay, have I forgotten anything? I'm good. You're good. Any questions? Thank you.
All right. Hi, everybody. Shane Terpstra, Director of Safety for the club. I'm not sure if you've been to Montgomery lately, Tom. It is full of homeless already. You should see some of the instructors. They're there like 24/7. Okay. So just going through some of the stats now, the parameters here are July 1st of last year through today, a few hours ago. A total of 53,833.9 hours were flown. Of those, 24,186.5 were dual given. That amounts to 67 hours of instruction per day, every single day for the last 360 days. So I know there's a lot of instructors here. Kudos to them. There are 223 instructors in the club. That amounts to just under 50% of the total hours are instructional hours. For the scheduling, 42% of the schedules are typically, they're local schedules. This is just assuming that they're put in Schedule Master. That's how we get this information. 33% of those schedules are training flights. 18% of the schedules are cross countries. 271 check rides were scheduled in the last 360 days. Now into the safety stuff, we've had 5 incidents, which amounts to 4 minor incidents and 1 accident, and the accident was a total loss. The 4 incidents are typically it kind of depends, but mostly they're hangar rash type things. Right? It's mostly a plane being pushed back in another plane. That's happened twice. We've had 2 of those incidents, and then there's just been a couple others. So we're doing pretty good there. Some interesting stats that I pulled up. I do this every year, but there's 45% of the club are IFR rated. Surprisingly, I would expect a little bit more. And 36% are complex endorsed. And no, Brian, I don't have tailwheel. I just didn't have the time. Sorry. I do have it there somewhere. So Dave was talking about maintenance in the 85 airplanes. We were just talking about this earlier. One of the things that we're seeing, if you're flying 172s, we've had seven flap track issues in the last 2 years. That's a big deal. Oh, okay. Cool. Got one more. Almost always those go to the IDP fund to pay for, and they can be anywhere from a few thousand up to $11,000-12,000. The general consensus is that most of these airplanes that have these issues are being oversped. So the flaps are being oversped when maneuvers are happening. Okay. So if you're out there training, you got to pay attention to those speeds. You may not notice it on your flight, but we've had some calls and we've had some incidents where there's been some good piloting to get them back when they extended the flaps, and it'll just twist up the flap, and hopefully it doesn't get attached to the aileron, and then you can't move the aileron. And so we had at least one of those, if not 2, in the last couple of years. In the last 360 days, 148 safety reports. These are the safety concern reports that hopefully I'm sure none of you have ever gotten. But noise abatement or noise complaints were number 1. That's actually been taken over by ramp maneuvering only recently. Most of it is related to people taxiing past fuel trucks, even though this is like we spend probably 5 minutes in new member briefs just saying don't ever taxi past fuel truck. 5 minutes we say this, and it still happens. The other one is there's a lot of, because of, if you've looked at the schedules lately, they're just packed. It's back to back to back. I mean, I know of at least 1 or 2 airplanes that are flying over 100 hours a month. So you can almost never get on schedule, right? That's a 100-hour inspection if we did them or if they do them every single month. So they're in a hurry to get out. And Montgomery gets busy, and Montgomery is 70% of our operations. So people just try to taxi in and out of areas, over tie down chocks and chains and whatnot. And inevitably, I get a call about it or a video or something or all of the above. So we're getting a lot more of those ramp maneuvering complaints. So that aside, we're doing pretty good. I mean, yes, we have the IDP thing where we're spending $150,000 every year, and to some extent, we're not going to be able to get rid of that. As long as we have pilots in the cockpit, not the flight deck, but the cockpit, then we're going to have these incidents. Okay. So a couple things that we are doing. If you've flown lately, you've seen the kind of the pre-flight reservation system, which is basically your 24-hour text message notification, your 2-hour email that has all kinds of information on it, right, that I encourage everyone to read because it does have inspection stuff as well, and then the 30-minute dispatch. So we're trying to make it easier, number 1, for you to get the information that's available, number 2, to be able to dispatch or cancel your reservations just by using your phone, okay? So that's pretty much it. The last thing that I'm going to mention, which has come up thanks to our amazing federal government, the TSA decided that the club is now because we're an operator, we're now required to get information that instructors get related to citizenship. We have to get it for everybody. So what we've decided to do to make it easier on us and to, basically do whatever the TSA wants us to do is everybody that has a flight with an instructor, the instructor will get a notification if you have not been in, if you have not had your citizenship validated, and they will probably ask you for your citizenship records, whatever it is, a passport or whatever. It makes no difference what you're training for, okay? The reason being, this has come up before, is that we don't want to track that someone's doing IFR today, they're doing commercial tomorrow. It's going to be nearly impossible with almost 3,000 members. It's not feasible. So if we just blanket, everybody gets a citizenship endorsement the next time they fly with an instructor, then within the next 6 months to a year, it'll all be done and we'll move on, and that's it. Okay, so don't be surprised if you're flying with an instructor. The next time you fly with an instructor, they ask you for that because they need to validate that. All right, and that's it. The one thing that I will mention, I know there's a question in the back. One thing I will mention is the Squawk system. I know the instructors have heard me talking about it. I'm waiting for Schedule Master to make some last-minute tweaks and do some testing. And then there will be a hopefully better and more informational Squawk system in place that I think will hopefully be able to utilize easier for everybody and make the owners a little bit happier as well. So stay tuned, a couple weeks. Yeah, there's a couple dates they have. I think one is like 6 months and the other is, whatever. But in government time, that's like 6 years or something. So I'm not really worried about doing it really, really quickly. I'm more interested in doing it accurately. As far as, not being able to rent if you don't have that validated, yes, at some point in time, but it's nowhere near on the horizon. I mean, we've done, just to give you an idea, 382 U.S. citizenship endorsements in the last 3 weeks. I think we've been doing this. Yeah, so it's going quick. Yeah. Yeah. To see if your citizenship endorsement is done? In Schedule Master, I think it's My Profile and Pilot Personal, I think. Yeah, I think it's like I think you can see it at the very bottom, but fact check me on that. I'm pretty sure that's where it is though. And it'll say there's 3 options. There's unspecified, US, and other. Okay. So yeah, I mean, ideally we get it done within 12 months. Yeah. Alan. So if you come to me and you say, "Hey Shane, I want a flight review," and I'll say, "Great, we need to do a quick citizenship test. Can I see your passport or birth certificate?" And you show me one of those two, and I can do a couple different things. I can take a picture of it, but the way the club is set up now is I can go into this page that you as an instructor have, but the instructors go in and they type in your passport number, they type in your Schedule Master ID, and they hit submit. You get a copy of the TSA endorsement. We get a copy of the TSA endorsement. Your instructor gets a copy. It's done. Yeah. Pilot certificate is not a proof of citizenship. No. Passport, passport or birth certificate. And then foreign pilots is different. It depends on whether they're in the group where they're actually training for a certificate or rating and they actually need a TSA approval, or they're just here building time, in which case it's just a couple boxes. It was sent in the last instructor newsletter, and it'll go in the next one too. No, that's, I mean, not for citizenship endorsement. So you got to remember here that you got the FAA, the TSA, and then the immigration processing, and none of these guys talk to each other, and they all want different things. So you know how it works. Jesse. Why would they want to anymore? Yeah, so that just came up. Yes, you can. I think there's a document number on there. Yeah. Anyone else? All right.
Since I heard the comment annual flight review, let's just for clarification, because I'm running into this again, the club annual flight review does not exist. A flight review is required by the club every 12 months, which could be either a 6156 with your instructor, a check ride where you pass actually flying, not a FERC. We've had a lot of CFIs try to put their FERC in as flight reviews. FERC's meaning a flight instructor refresher clinic. Your, excuse me, if you complete a phase of wings where you get a certificate, not where your instructor signs off your 1 hour flight. That is not a flight review. You get the actual FAA certificate. It's all pretty and blue, and it's signed by folks. That counts. And then for our military folks, your NATOPS counts, as well as our folks that fly commercially in the airlines and 135s. We accept their flight safeties and all those other ones. If there are any airline guys here listening, if you do use your stuff for flight reviews, make sure you outline specifically what we're looking at, because Erica, Talisha, and actually myself don't know what we're reading. And if we don't know, then we're going to reject. So, but if you guys are CFIs are doing flight reviews for the quote-unquote Plus One Flyers annual flight review, there's no such thing. It's always a 6156. If we don't see the 6156, we reject it, and then we bump the flight review for the applicant back to where it'll be locked out. So just keep that in mind. It's a 6156. Thank you.
All right, it's 7:13. Hold on, let me get in here, and I'll give you guys the results. All right, hold on a second. Doesn't look like it's closed quite yet. Can you just say something else for a minute?
Something else. Anybody have any questions? Anybody club-wise? Yes. Right, well, maintaining, you mean cleaning it up? Yeah, that's Westways. We pay them a cleaning fee, and if nobody says anything to me or says anything to Mike, it won't get done. And by the way, speaking of Gillespie, somebody tried to kick in the door not too long ago. If you guys have been trying to use it lately, you'll see that it's very difficult to open and the hinge is kind of broken. Somebody somewhere is trying to kick it in. That's why we don't have nice things anymore. And if it keeps going like that, then we'll just get rid of the office. Because, I mean, it's just what it's going to cost to fix it. And if they come in and ransack for old computers, it's just not worth it. I talked to Mike about it. He was going to pull a security camera footage and let me know, and I never heard anything. So something tells me he didn't get anything. But Westways is responsible for cleaning the office and going through and doing everything. It was going good for a while, but like I said, this is the first I've heard of it. I was there not too long ago, and I saw food in the trash, which wasn't supposed to be there. I put it outside. I'm saying people, if you see something that's like that, throw it outside. They'll come get it. But I think Mike's having difficulty just keeping people on, and just the turnover rate is so high. He just can't keep people going. Just read to Paul or Mike, Westways. And I'll reach out to him, too, because I got him on the text. I can just send everything out to him. That's them. It's all Westways. In the remote? Yeah, a lot of people turn it on and they walk away and just leave it on. That really gets Mike upset, because then the electric bill goes through the roof. And we were putting it on the walls for a while. Please turn off the AC when you leave, and they never do. So that's one of the things. And I think in some ways, I can see that's why Mike is probably not in a quick hurry to fix a lot of stuff, because they're just going to leave it on and run it out anyways. So it's kind of like a snake eating its own tail. But I'll talk to him. I know the one in the classroom was acting up. So, oh, Sarah's ready. We're done. Oh yeah, a lot of times it's the reason why nobody says anything. Like right now, I found out about it now. I knew about the hinge because somebody called me on it, but it's probably been like that for weeks. But nobody tells me anything. So if I get a text or an email, that's all I need. It goes around, but a lot of times it depends on if we need to go out there or not. So we're waiting for the results. Okay. Okay, we're done? We're ready. Okay, we're good with the results, and then we can talk afterwards.
All right. For non-owners, the winner is John Scott. Congratulations. For owners, we have, and this is in no particular order, Tom Reed, Dave Gordon, Jim Capenis, Greg Beatty, Rick Garza, Kevin May, and Larry Massaro. So thank you, everybody, and thank you to everybody who ran. And I really do encourage everybody to come to board meetings. It's a worthwhile use of time. Thank you.
Okay, like I said, it was a short one tonight. We don't have a big group. So we're going to be here for a while yakking and putting things together. If you guys want to hang out, great. If not, enjoy. Appreciate your time coming out. The next meeting will be in August. No, it's on the website.